this was more painful than it needed to be. Hey DJ. Right. Just getting the link sent out again. Well. What fun. Apologies, folks. Right, I suppose it's time we got started. Give it one more second. I'm going to try and get the chat working again. Okay, just going to try and get the chat back and then give it another minute or two and hopefully get people a chance to get on with the new link. Right. So let's try and get the chat back and then we can get started. Okay, so category. Wow. I tested this all today and everything worked perfectly fine. There it is, live chat, enable. Enable live chat. There we go. Click. Be nice to me. Okay. Okay, gonna have to make a start because we're 15 minutes behind. Right. And I can't seem to get the live chat back. Live chat is disabled for this video, which is deeply disappointing. Well, science technology, kids, playlist, this is for kids, age restriction. No, I can't enable live chat right now, so I'll try to get it back later. Okay. Anyway, we're going to get started. So we are. Yeah, I know, DJ, it's still disabled. Right. So the reason why I wanted to do this, and we're running very far behind, was that I wanted to do a test run for a series that I want to do. But really, what I want to do is actually bring people along the journey of what is infrastructure as code. Okay, and the reason why I wanted to do that was to I see an awful lot of things in the ecosystem, and SAP are doing a great job, and I have great friends in the developer advanced program and things like that. And I've been doing a lot of work on infrastructure as code, and when I talk to my colleagues and work with them, one of the key things that I find is that they're quite what's the word I'm looking for? They don't know where to start with this stuff. And so because they don't know where to start with this stuff, I wanted to do a series that would actually bring people along on the journey. So then this came along, and I talked to DJ and I talked to a couple of other people, and what I wanted to do was run a series that would actually help people along the journey. So how did I get to here? So I've been doing this, I've been playing around with infrastructure as code for probably about a couple of years at least. And where I got started was really it started with Hyper-V, so it did, and Raspberry Pis and things like that. And as I went through more and more things, more and more ideas, it became more apparent that I really, really, really needed to dig into this harder and do more with this stuff. Okay, and so that then, I started creating Hyper-V machines using just the console, and then the using the GUI. Okay, but that I knew that wasn't scalable, so it wasn't. So I then started to look at how I could do it differently. Okay, so I started then looking at things like PowerShell and Vagrant and scripting and that sort of stuff. Okay. Then one of the things next that I worked on was working in Ansible and Terraform and that sort of thing. Okay, so how I got started was I had a problem that I needed to solve. I needed to do I needed to play with stuff. I needed to build. I was working in my home lab. I didn't have a Mac at the time, so I wanted to do things as effectively as possible. Okay, and so I started to then look at how I could do things better, and that really then I'd always thought about infrastructure as code and defining objects in code, but it was how to get started. Okay, so really what I sort of started with was Hyper-V. Okay, and what I might actually do is I might actually start another chat. I might actually start another thing. Hold on a second. No, that's going to be starting with Terraform. That's it there. how to do it now. Hold on a second. I'm just going to try one last thing to get the chat back. And it's actually to do with is it available for kids. Public. I'm going to say public. No, it's not made for kids. Age restriction. Do not save. Okay, let me go back in and see if this works. Live chat. Enable live chat. Haha! Now I've got it working. So. I think I got it working. Okay. DJ's going to tell me now. Yay! Chat is working now. Excellent. I don't feel like a complete and total failure. Right. Okay. So that's better. Now, so as I said, I started doing a lot of stuff with Hyper-V because I was working in my home lab. Okay. And that was all good, but I needed more consistency. So what I started to do was actually look at PowerShell. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a very, very simple script that will get us working in PowerShell. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a new file. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a PowerShell script that is going to create a VM. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. Okay. So, not this one. Where's the one that I had earlier? So this is the thing that most people really, really don't talk about, is the fact that oh yes, I need to share my screen. That helps. There we go. Right. So this is the one here. There it is there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. And I'm going to run through it step by step. Okay. So what we have is a script. This is a PowerShell script, okay? And this is going to create a new VM in Hyper-V, okay? So we have the first bit, which is create new VM, okay? So it's new VM, give it the VM name, okay? Then set the CPU and the memory, create a new VHDX disk, okay? And give it a size, add the hard drive, okay? And give it the path. Set the DVD drive, so we need an image. I downloaded an image earlier on. Okay. Remove the default NIC. Actually, I'm going to take that out because I want to keep the default NIC. Okay. Configure the NIC access. Connect it, and then fire up the VM. Okay. So this is all pretty simple, okay? But the point about it is that what I have here is something that I can actually use over and over and over again. Okay, the purpose of it is not necessarily to do it quicker, but actually to do it more consistently. Okay, so if I use this script, then what I'm going to get is the same output for the same inputs. Okay, perhaps I need to look away. No, you don't. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to give it some variables. Okay, so I have Hyper-V here. I also downloaded a CentOS image earlier on, just to make sure that I wasn't completely sending DJ around the bend. There it is there. So get this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the parameters that we have. Okay. Give it this. We're going to give it the path to disk. So I need to give it a location. Just going to stick in drivers and be done with it. Okay. And then the switch, I need the switch name. So virtual switch manager. So I've called the switch home lab. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this script. So we're going to save this script. So we're going to call this PowerShell script. Okay. So I'm going to go to the terminal in my Visual Studio Code. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find the script. Okay. VM create.ps. Okay. So hopefully it's going to work. Okay, and this is going to create a VM for us. Okay, so by doing, oh no, okay, cannot run because scripts are disabled on access. Oh, yeah, when this happens. So sorry, I ran the update. So can't be loaded. Right, I'm gonna have to undo that. But anyway, let me. No, not now. Let's see if I can get it to work this way. So what we want to do is we want to actually to run this and have it create everything for us. Okay. Now, obviously, when you do this, it's supposed to actually, create the VM and not actually have an issue. But let's see. Let's try it again. This may actually work. Yep. I don't have the. I know why. I need to start this as an admin. That's why. Okay. Sorry, I need to start this again as an admin. That's the reason why. Windows Terminal, run as an administrator. Yes. Okay. So obviously I wasn't running this as an admin. That was the first problem that I had. So let's try this again. So, okay, so we go to OneDrive. Okay, and then GitHub, and then Livestream, and LS, and there it is. Okay, so VM create. Yes, one. Let's try that. No, it's still not working. It's just a little embarrassing. Okay, I'll fix that later. So, but anyway, okay, so we have a script that we want to use to create. Okay, now that's actually really good, except the problem is it only exists here. Okay, on my machine. Okay, in order to actually make this better, what I need to do is actually make it available to other people. Okay, and that's where we use a tool called Git. Ah, thank you, DJ. See, this is why I need you. So let's try PowerShell execution policy bypass file VM PS1. Try that. That actually looks reasonable, DJ. Thank you. While that's running, let's have a look. My new VM. Wow, it did actually work. There we go. And that was created there now. And if I look at it, when it's doing stuff, so that's actually running at the moment. We'll come back to that and watch that in a second, okay? But as I said, the thing that's actually that makes this better is being able to share it and being able to use it with people, okay, and have it consistent, okay? So that's actually starting the machine now, okay? So what we use is a tool called Git, okay? And when we use Git, what we're able to do is actually to use version control, We're able to create things known as branches. We're able to do create a branch to do a new piece of development and then merge it back up. Okay, and all this stuff is stuff that developers have been doing for a very long time. Okay, Git was created for by the Linux kernel project by Linus Torvalds to handle the distributed development. But within Basis, we don't do any of this. We create scripts and then just leave them. Okay, we don't trust each other's scripts. So what I'm going to do now is actually show you a Git client. And DJ, there are many pros and cons to having a Git client. Okay, I like having a Git client because it creates a visual representation of the status of what's going on, and it makes life a lot easier. So it does, especially for me. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a Git client. Okay, so this is what I use as a thing called Git Kraken. Okay, and I use it because it connects to both. Git is my Git client. Yes, thank you, DJ. This connects to both my personal repos in GitHub, but also the company that I work for. I can also use GitLab. Okay, and it doesn't really matter which. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to create a new repo or a new repository for the script that we just used. Okay, we just created, and then send it to a collaborator. So I'm going to send it to DJ, and then DJ can add a commit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in it, and we're going to go GitHub. I'm going to use my account. Now you can do this in the command line, which is where DJ loves to do it. Okay, I like to do it there as well. But one of the things that I've learned over the last sort of 2-3 years is that not everybody likes starting in that way. Okay, so when I've been teaching people how to do source control and working with Git, one of the things that I find is that having this visual representation really helps. So there's one called Gmaster that I like a lot. It will connect. It's free. And it will connect to GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure DevOps, all these sorts of things. Okay, I use Git Kraken. I pay for it, but you can use lots and lots of other tools. So we're going to call this Hyper-V VM Create. Okay, and we're going to make it public. And I'm going to put in live stream. Default branch is main. We're just going to create the repository and clone. Okay, so that's going to go off and that's going to create a repo. So we're going to look at it in GitHub because I'm going to do some stuff on GitHub as well. Okay, so that's now started to open the repo. Oh, there we go. I already have a GitHub open. Excellent. So this is a little bit slow because it's, I'm doing all this on my laptop, and streaming and web browsing and creating DMs and things like that does tend to, stretch it perhaps a little bit more than it usually does. So here we go. Hyper-V create. So that was created today. Okay, we'll just hop into that. Let's just check on our, network adapter not found. Okay, we'll go back to that. Okay, so here we are in GitHub. Okay, when we created that, it creates a file. Okay, so this is GitHub as it exists on the website. If you go into my drive, you'll see I also got a new directory called Hyper-V VM Create. And in there, what you'll see is a readme.md, and you'll see a .git file. So the .git file is a hidden directory, and what it does, it tracks the status and the MD5 of all, I think it's the MD5, of all the files that are actually held within that directory structure for updates and changes. Okay, so what we can do is, if I open this README file in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code, there we go. What will then happen is I can then make an update to it, okay, and then commit that update. Okay, so here we go. So Hyper-V create. This is test file. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay. Now what's going to happen is when I go back into Get Cracking, you can see that it's already picked up that there's a change. Okay. Now I can do all of this in the command line. Okay, but just for the sake of showing you, so you can see here, unstate changes, I can click on the file. When it eventually opens, and it'll show us what the change is. Okay, so you can see I've added 2 lines, and the wee plus shows me that I've done this. So let's stage all the changes. Okay, we will add a commit message, adding the test message. Okay. Now this should be descriptive. So you add a title, and then you can add more description under the bottom. Okay, so adding in mine as a text file. Okay, commit the changes. So that creates a commit, and then I can push that to the master, to the main line. Okay. Now, as I said, one of the things that I wanted to do was to add DJ as a contributor. Okay, so what I can do is I can add people to this as contributors. Okay, so I'm going to add DJ as a contributor. He'll get a notification in a minute. Okay, so moderation settings, security and access. Where is it? Manage access, there it is, sorry. So when I do this, what I'm going to do is, yep, user queue macro. Thank you, DJ. What's interesting is, so Microsoft are going to stop all the API access without, you can't use usernames or passwords anymore when you are, there we go, DJ macro, queue macro, DJ Adams. Okay, so what I'm going to ask DJ to do is, DJ is then going to do, I would like DJ to do an update to the machine, to the code, and then commit that, okay, and then put in the chat that he has done it, and then we'll go back and we'll have a look at the file. So you'll see this is my update here. Okay, so I've added this. Okay, so what will then happen is DJ will then ping me and say he's done this. Okay, and that will then we'll go back and check on the file. Okay, so now that I have the repo, what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to save the file. So this PS create file, I'm going to save this in that directory. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. I'm going to close the file. Actually, I can actually, because we're in Visual Studio, what I can do is I can actually drag that file and dump it in here. Yes, I want to move it. Okay, so this is really good. Okay, and I'm going through stuff I really like about it, and one of the things, the stuff that actually makes it really I never thought that I would use something as useful as Visual Studio Code coming from Microsoft. This really has just made it so easy for me to work in infrastructure as code. Okay, DJ says he's done the update, so let us go back. So what we're going to do is I'm going to refresh the file. Okay. And there we see it. So this is another line added by your friend DJ. Thank you, DJ. Okay, so what have we actually done here? What we've done is we've taken a file to create infrastructure, okay, and run that, and then put it up in a GitHub repo, but give someone else access to it, to use and to run stuff with, okay? And now we can collaborate on this in a safe and effective way, okay? So now that DJ's out of this thing, I can see two things, okay? I have a working directory change because I moved the file in, okay? But what we'll also see is DJ has added another line to the README, okay? So I need to do two things. If I stage this and push it up, okay, it's going to complain at me a little bit to say that, you know, that there's a change in the main branch, okay, and we need to do it. So what I'll probably do is I'll do a pull, okay, so I'm going to pull that down, and I'll get that, okay, and I'm going to add the PowerShell file, make the changes, and then push. Okay. Okay, so it's put because I pulled it. It's still when I was in there. Okay, go on. You can change. Okay. And then I'm going to push it. Come on. Push. Okay. Now that I've pushed that, okay, what should happen now is DJ should, in his version, he will now see a new file, the VM create PS1. Okay. And so what we're able to do there is, you know, he can see my updates, I can see his updates now. Okay. And that is massively powerful. I mean, massively powerful. Okay. So what we do is we'll have a look at, you know, what then happened next. Okay. So once I actually started this and started to get my head around Git, okay, and how I could work together with people, okay, and start doing this stuff. What I then got to was, okay, how do I then do it across more cloud, cloud hyperscalers, okay? Oh, we've run out of tape. Hate it when that happens. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to have a look at, you know, how the next evolution of where I got to, which was, you know, using command line tools to then create VMs in a hyperscaler. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create I'm going to create a new repo here. Okay, create a new repo. And then when I create this new repo, we're going to call this gcloud create. Okay, so we're going to go on GitHub. Going to put it back in my Biblia account. So we're going to go gcloud create. Okay, public. Main branch. Okay. I'm going to add DJ again as a collaborator. So we're going to go back into my repo. Okay, so while that's loading, um, the I have to say actually, it took me a long time to get into using Git properly. Okay, and part of the reason why it was hard was actually I wasn't using the right sort of workflow, the right sort of tools. Because what would happen is, and I would start to do stuff, and again, I hadn't really got the Git bit. If you hadn't really understood the command, I hadn't really understood the command line properly and how that works. Okay, it wasn't until I got started this role that I'm doing at the moment. I also got a tool like Gmaster or Git Kraken and started working with that. That really made it very, very simple for me. Okay, then I then went back and started working in the command line and doing more in the command line and doing it that way. Okay, so as I said, I've made DJ a contributor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code and create a new file, and it's going to sit in here. So new file. Okay, now we're just going to do it really, really simple. So we're going to do create .sh. Okay, we're going to create a shell file. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to run this in my Cloud Shell. Okay, so now, right, so we're going to run gcloud. Also, I can spell gcloud. So gcloud compute instance create, and it's VM name, so we'll just call this my stream test. Okay, then backslash, we're going to give it name, we want image, so the image we want is, I'm just going to use Debian, Debian and Buster. Oh, I'll need to dig out and get that should be enough. Image family Debian 10, and then the image project image project is Debian Cloud. Okay, give me 2 seconds because I just want to double check what the TCP Debian image. The reason being is because the images themselves they have the versions at the back. Okay, so you can, so it's not enough to just put in the the overall name. Okay, so when you look at it, project Debian Cloud testing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy this command, and this is going to give us this is going to give us the output. So we'll take that, and then we're going to connect. Here we go. Where is this? Okay, so authorize. One of the things I actually really like about Google is they give you a free tier of $300. Then what happens is you can then gcloud for login. hope you don't mind, but I am actually going to do this. I'm going to drag this window off to the side. It's not that I don't trust you all, but you know, it's one of those things. Drag it off to the side. So I'm going to authorize the login. It's probably going to give me a key, and I would rather do this in a separate window where you can't all see it. Okay, so anyway, going back to your Hyper-V. So here we go. So although the network didn't actually come together, what I was able to do was actually start the VM. Okay, it's got the 8 gig of RAM. If we go into it, you'll see it has the 2 CPUs. Okay, and now I have a script that will allow me to create a consistent VM every single time. Okay, and that is super important, because it means when I'm building systems, I'm not building them according to a run book, a set of paper documentation. Okay, what I'm actually able to do is create it again and again and again. So I see 2 CPUs, you can see there, and you can see the there's the IDE C drivers, or the drive. Sorry, IDE as in the IDE drive. It's in C drivers, which is where we asked it to go. Okay, so it has done exactly what I asked it to do. Okay, so let's drag this back. So we can drag this back now and pop it out, make it bigger. Come on. We're coming to the end of the hour. Okay, I'm going to go for another sort of 10 or 15 minutes since we started late. Entirely my fault. So if people are going to stick around, that would be great. Yeah. So let's see. And we'll stop at about 10:15. Okay, so the cloud shell is coming up. So it is. One of the things I find interesting was that Google and Azure both offer the cloud shell. Amazon announced that they now are doing cloud shell as well. The cloud shell is actually brilliant. It gives you sort of an admin VM for 50 hours a week. Okay, and that is really quite cool, because it means that we can actually do an awful lot of things with this. And there's also a built-in code editor in this. Okay, something that it took me, and it's the same. It's based off the same stuff that that Visual Studio is actually based off. So when you see this, you can actually see its heritage in Visual Studio, but Visual Studio itself is based off something else, and I can't quite remember what that is for the life of me. So what we're going to do is Debian. What we're doing is I'm going to look for all the. There we go. Sure, what we're after there. To answer your question, I am an Azure. Okay, it's not so much the reason why I like GCP for this. I get the credit, but I don't have to put, which means when I'm doing stuff like this, okay, or I'm teaching, it means that I'm actually have a credit card in this, okay, and so if I leave or if I provision too much, it means that it's ended up costing me an absolute fortune, and I have done that in the past, and only the fact that some nice people in the world that have helped me not my wrist slapped by either my wife or my bank manager. So that's one of the reasons why I like this GCP stuff better at the moment. Each hyperscaler has its own sweet spot in terms of what it actually is designed to do. At the moment, for example, I'm working in GCP. I have worked in Azure and I have worked in Amazon, and there are very, very definitely key capabilities within every hyperscaler. Okay, and there's for this stuff, when I'm playing about in my home lab and stuff like that, I do like GCP because, as I said, there's no credit card on the line. I have the credits; they're in the account. There are very, very strict limits on what you can spend and what you can spin up. But when I'm doing this stuff and doing development and doing testing, this is absolutely brilliant. And yes, it is. I think it is Thea in Eclipse. Right. So we have this. Okay. So this is now a shell script. I can put this here. Okay. So I can view the change. Stage all changes. Okay, so added the read it. Script. Okay, commit. And then I'm going to push this up to the repo, and we're going to have a look at it. Yes, Greg, you're absolutely right. They did. They came out with their own shell. It was reInvent. Okay, pushed. And now I go in. Now, do I have Git in this? Let's see, Git. I do. Excellent. Right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to clone. So now, right. So what I've been doing is I am working in a machine that is not necessarily mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this repo to pull the code down. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. Okay. So this is clone. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clone this. So what I'm going to do is git clone this. Hopefully this will work. Ah, there we go. So what I've done is very simple. It's git clone. So you can see it's in G Cloud VM create. I have the shell script. Okay. And then what we're going to do is email shell for this. And so what's going to happen now is when you look at this file, you're going to see it's actually executable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do create. And what will happen is this will start again. So let me see. It hasn't tried. Oh, that would be right. That's interesting. I see the file. I see the file. So there it is. See it. There we go. Did you push? Oh, silly me. Added in the commands. Sorry, the last one didn't actually add in the commands. So I created the file, saved the file, didn't save the file, but in the meantime did a push. So that is just silly. Stage the changes. Okay. Commit the change. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push that. That will come up. Okay, so add it in the commands. There we go. It's not embarrassing at all. Once we do that, then we can then run a pull. And once we do the pull, that'll then have the code, and then I can run the command. Okay, so what we're going to do git pull. I haven't actually made any changes to it. Git. You know what? I can do this better. Give me 2 seconds. Not entirely sure what it's done. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to tell it who I am. Does that do anything useful? So git. So what I'm having to do is tell it who I am with my email address, because at the moment what I'm doing is it's picking up the email address of the shell, not of me, because this is because the shell image is to say it loses state every time you restart it. Okay, so when you're using Cloud Shell, it's really handy. The problem that you have is you keep having to regenerate what you actually done. That causes a lot of challenges. So what I tend to have to do is to create a script that actually reinstantiates the same environment that I had before. And that in itself is a bit of a pain. So it is, because especially whenever you're working a lot, across directories and things like that, that can cause a lot of challenges. So it is. So when I'm doing this, okay. So I've just completely. What I've done is I've actually removed the entire directory and restarted. So I'm going to clone that again. So create. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Cloud shell. Maximize. There we go. And go to here. Copy that. Back into here. And I can actually reclone this. Oh, yes. save the code. So, you know, okay, hopefully this will be better. Image family not found. Weird. That should be there. Okay, so now we have a problem. So what we're going to do is, it says image family not found. So let's go into this. So the image family, that's why, because I don't have the dash. So what we're going to do is give it, push it, okay, go. There's the change. Okay, what we're going to do now is push this up. Okay, so you can see the change. What I want to do is proceed. Okay. Then once that's done, change and push it. Then once it's pushed, I'm going to then. Okay, so there we go. Then go back into the command line and then pull that down. That is then going to get our code, and we'll see it in the code. Push. So that's pushing now. So just push down here. Then I can then go into the code and say, the code. That will then, let's go. So let's do git pull. Okay, git pull. Actually need it. It hasn't done. Okay, git. Let's see if I can force it. No, I can't force it. At least not without being a pain. Git pull. Let's see if I can work out. Stack Overflow is brilliant because it gives me the answers that to so many questions. Now, this is one of the other things is that because normally this doing stuff, yes, is my day job, okay, but the good thing about it is that because we are in the ecosystem years behind, there's some stuff's actually been done already. Okay, so there we go. Try this. Okay, so then we will fetch all git. It would help if I could spell git. I don't want to look at too many. Git pull. Still not. Come on, do this quickly. Okay, so there we go. Git reset hard main. So git reset hard. I'm not entirely sure why. Okay. Because normally what should happen is I just be able to pull this down. Yeah, there you go. That's now got the change in there. So what we'll do is, okay. So we're going to rerun the create. Okay. That's why I would keep doing it because I can't. Wow. Instances create. Okay, so let's go have a look at that. It's funny, actually, this script I was taken from the instances create. So what we'll do is, interest of time, because we are. Sorry, I'm just gonna break. Yeah, quickly. So change instances not instance. Then we'll commit, we'll stage that, commit it, run it, and then we'll do it. There we go. Commit, push. Try git checkout. Yeah, Naresh, I think it, yeah, you're right. It should be. Now, this is the challenge of doing this stuff live. So it is. Yeah. It's not embarrassing when you get it wrong at all. So it isn't. Give up. Oh, no, because it's not. It hasn't pushed. Let me push that again because it shouldn't be. There we go, pushed. Let's try that again. Git pull. Don't fix that. Okay. Check out. Create. Aha. Thank you, Naresh. So let's have a look. Create instances. Try that. Ugh. I really need to fix that. Yes, that'll do. Image family not found. But that is the right image family. Debian 10. Because this is. Yeah. No, that is just bizarre because that should actually work. So it should. Because that worked earlier. Right, we're 25 minutes over, folks. I think I'm going to call it a night here. But not before I get this working. Invalid reference source disks. The image reference cannot be found. So if I do create C5VM create instances. Let's have a look at the actual command. Because obviously doing it from memory just isn't working for me. Okay, we're going to G-Cloud compute instances create. This is something else I really like at Google. The documentation is phenomenal. So that is the when you're actually doing this, what you can actually see in Google is you can see the console view, the API view, and the G-Cloud. Remove erroneous thing. Yeah, that is the delay. When I'm doing this again, actually, the problem I'm getting is specify image or image family. Anyways, that's interesting because this, when you look at this, the examples, because when I did this earlier on, I used the example in the documentation so that when it all went horribly wrong, I would have something to fall back on. And where is it? All the way down at the bottom, obviously. But yeah, no, I really like the Google documentation because it gives you the both the API, it gives you the console, and it gives you the G-Cloud command. So let's scroll down examples, and then it eventually goes. Okay, so post one of these ones. Interesting. Okay, image or snapshot. So let's get the image file example. So let me just. The other thing I like is there's a little copy button over here. So as when this page finishes loading. That is interesting, because as I said, this is Google documentation, but however. So let's go back here. Mastering test. So that works. Image handling. Okay. Use them. Go. Take that out. See if that. Edit the code. There we go. And push that. Okay, push. Done. Go back in. This. Oh, sorry. Good. Okay, that's pretty it. So, see, that's going to be positive 9. Okay, so I'm actually creating. What I'm going to say is, yeah. Now, as you've seen, this takes time and is fiddly. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. I've heard far too long, and even you can get tripped up pretty easily. Okay, but here's the point. I keep coming back. If I get this stuff run the same way, I now have, and all I have to do is I just need to create a parameter, okay, for that, and pass it into that file, and it'll create the same file it'll create the same VM every single time. Okay, that is absolutely critical when we're doing this stuff in the real world, because we're not building one server or two servers. We're building massive landscapes, okay, that we're going to install SAP into. Okay, and so doing this consistently is absolutely vital. Okay, I'm sick and tired of doing things in runbooks and things like that. I want to be able to build this stuff effectively and quickly. Okay, so let's jump into the console and see if we have our server. Hopefully we do, because it says it's there. There it is. And I can SSH too. Okay. So, folks, I'm going to call it a night. So we're just, we're over the hour. So thank you very, very much for being here. And it's been emotional. Thank you.